Welcome back. So we looked at corresponding angles. Parallel lines must be seen, or the arrows indicating parallel lines. Corresponding angles, they are in the same position. So that on top of the line, that's on top of the line. That's below the line, that's below the line. And bear in mind, they're on the same side. This is above the line, it's called a K. Then that one above the line is going to be K. If this is below the line, let's call that Y. Then that below the line, that's called Y. Those are corresponding angles. We also looked at, again, we're looking at angles and parallel lines. We see that they're parallel because we see the arrows indicating they're parallel. We have a line cutting both of them. That's called a transversal. And by the way, it doesn't have to be two parallel lines. It could be more than two parallel lines. Okay, so here we have a transversal. We're now looking at alternate angles, and we say alternate angles, they're not on the same side. Here we have the shape of a Z that we can visualize to find alternate angles. Alternate angles are equal. So if this is P, then that's going to be P. If this is S, then that's going to be S. And these are alternate angles. An alternate angle can be visualized by the letter Z. Again, the arms of the Z there must be the lines that are parallel. They must be the lines that are parallel. So here, if that is going to be equal to P, then this is going to be equal to P. The next one we looked at is co-interior angles. Co-interior angles, again, we have our parallel lines, and I want you to assume that these are same distance apart because I'm using a freehand, and we have a transversal. Co-interior is given away by the word interior. That means it is bounded between the parallel lines. So here, the parallel lines are the walls, and it's within the walls of the parallel lines, again, on the same side. So if this is A and that is B, in this case, A and B are not the same, but A and B together will make 180 degrees. So A plus B equals 180 degrees. Let's just look at some questions that might come on co-interior angles. So co-interior angles, I could be given a question here. I'm identifying my parallel lines. There are my parallel lines. That's my transversal. I could be given that this is 140 degrees, and I'm asked to find that one. Let's call that Y. Now, that is below the line, and that is above the line. They are not speaking the same language, so I know that they're not corresponding. They're on the same side, which eliminates that they are alternate, because alternate angles are not on the same side. So the next one we know is co-interior, because they are inside of the parallel lines, with the parallel lines being the walls. So they are inside. And we know that interior angles add up to 180 degrees. So 180 take away 140 is going to be equal to 40. So I know that Y is equal to 40 degrees. In this case, we can do a calculation. With corresponding angles and alternate angles, we don't need to do a calculation. You will be asked, what is your reason? Your reason for this is because they are co-interior, or sometimes people write in short just interior angles. Now in an exam, while these corresponding and alternate angles might just give 1 mark, it's highly likely that this will give 2 marks because you've got to do some calculation. It could still be 1 mark, but it could also be 2 marks because we have to do some calculations to get our answer. Okay. Now we're going to do a final wrap up of what we've been doing. Let's do 1 more question. We're going to look at, that's a transversal, but in this case, this transversal is a perpendicular line, so it's a right angle. And here is another transversal. This is 114 degrees, and I'm going to ask that you find this being J, this being K, this being L. Our task is to find J, K, and L, right? We must look at, are these lines parallel? We must look for the arrow to show that they are parallel. So they are parallel. If we look at K here, we can see that these two angles make a straight line. So we could go back to our basic facts and say angles on a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. But since we're on the angles, the topic of angles and parallel lines, let's find this one first. That's above the parallel line, that's above the parallel line. So this would be 114. So J is equal to 114 degrees. And our reason is because they are corresponding angles. Then we could find this one here. So now we can find this one. We need to find this one here. If we're going to find, okay, let's find our K first. So we could find our K by saying here, that and that makes 180 degrees. But we could also say that's a parallel line, that's a parallel line. These two are what we call interior angles, going back to the topic. They're bounded by the parallel lines. So interior angles adds up to 180 degrees. So we could say 180, take away 114, and that is going to be left leaving us with 66. So we know that this is 66 degrees. Now we need to find this one. We need to bear in mind that this one cannot be, we cannot find this one by using corresponding because there's no parallel lines here. We cannot use it by finding alternate because there's no parallel line here. We cannot use it by co-interior because there's no parallel line here. But we notice that there's a triangle right there. And if there's a triangle right there, then we can see, can we use angles in a triangle? We know that this is 90 degrees because that symbol means 90 degrees. We know that this angle plus that angle equals 180 degrees. We know this one, but we can find this one. This one, we could use angles on a straight line. Take that away from 180, we get there. But since we're on the topic of angles and parallel lines, we can also identify here as Z, with these two lines here being the parallel lines. So if that is 66, that is going to 66. We do not need to do any calculation. If we continue on, then we'll see then that if here we have the triangle 66, so we have 90 plus 66, which is going to give us 6, 9 and 6, 15, 156 degrees. These three angles are going to be add together to give 180 degrees. So L is equal to 180, take away 156, 7, 6 from 10 leave 4, 5 from 7 leave 2, so L is equal to 24 degrees.